Jennifer Paullin is the co-founder of the Paullin Group, servicing the southeastern region of Pennsylvania, the metropolitan area of Philadelphia, and portions of New Jersey. Jennifer, thanks for chatting with me today. I'm curious, how did you originally get into real estate back in 2019?
Yeah, so before 2019, just to back up, I was wholesaling from 2014 to 2018. I worked as a nurse for a large, Ivy League teaching hospital in Philadelphia. Fell in love with real estate. So in 2018, I saw a big shift and pivot in the wholesaling world. And then from there, I was like, you know what, this doesn't make a ton of sense all the time. Let me get my license so that I can go ahead and give my clients or potential sellers more options. Then from there, I got my license, and in 2019, I left nursing and, just dove right into real estate full time. And I've been doing that since 2019.
And whenever you went into real estate full time, did you go solo or did you join an existing team?
Yeah, so initially, when I first went to real estate, I was a solo agent with a flat fee brokerage, which blows my mind because wholesaling and being a licensed agent are two different beasts. And I would probably not recommend that for the faint of heart because a flat fee brokerage, you legitimately get what you pay for. I think after you have a couple of years of experience, that's fine for some people, but not as a brand new agent out of the gate. It's a really difficult transition. And then from there, I left that company right around when the pandemic hit, and I went to a national brokerage, and that was so helpful in my career and really understanding how real estate works on the more traditional side.
And whenever you're with the flat fee brokerage, do you remember who your first deal was with and how you found that first deal?
Yeah, so at that time I did a ton of direct mail, again, coming out of the wholesale space. And so it was a handwritten letter for probate. That was my primary niche, wholesaling and in the start of real estate. So a ton of direct mail. And when I met with the seller, I was like, hey, listen, I could buy this property at this price. Or if you don't like that price, we can go ahead and list it and test the waters. And my price is still good if you don't get the offer that you were desiring. And I still actually talk to that client today. And it worked out. We got a full price offer. She was very happy. And putting the deal together, a lot of YouTube videos. That was my support at the time. And I will tell you, my co-op agent was phenomenal. I was just really transparent. I'm brand new. She's like, not a problem. And she was just amazing to work with. And actually, I still talk to her to this day too.
Oh, that's great. Is that something you still offer to your clients today? Do you offer wholesale price versus going on the market?
Not so much a wholesale price just because of the way wholesaling works, trying to find that end buyer. My wife and I, we do flip properties. So I do offer the best cash price that makes this most sense for our business model. And again, if they don't like my price, then I will go ahead and do a full listing for them. It really just, I tailor to the client's needs and what their goals that they're trying to accomplish.
So following the pandemic, you joined a national, more traditional brokerage. When did you co-found your existing group?
So the existing group, so I was a solo agent, and for a short stint, I joined a team, but that team model did not work for me. And when I say short, I think it was like less than 90 days. So then I went back to being a solo agent. And then my sister, she was actually doing real estate out in California during the pandemic, which was difficult everywhere. And she came back home in 20, I think she came back home in 2021, and she got her Pennsylvania license. And then the two of us joined together, and now we're, the Paullin Group, the sister team.
And besides you and your sister, do you have any support staff or any agents within your group?
We don't. We just handle our clients directly. And we're not really looking to grow this large team. That's not part of our business plan, but we do have support staff offshore. And, she gives us maybe about 20 to 25 hours a week of, paperwork, just making sure our files in order, compliance, and TC work.
And how did you find her?
We actually found her through a transaction coordinator company in the area, and that the woman of that company was kind enough to share her assistant with us. So, primarily, our assistant primarily works for the TC company and then gives us, like I said, about 20 hours a week. So we're more than happy with what Flurry knows how to do, and she's very familiar with Follow Up Boss, so that helps also.
What does a partnership look like? Do you and your sister work with both buyers and sellers? Do you both have your own specialties? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's actually a little bit of a generation gap between us. So I'm 13 years older than my sister. So she's dealing with primarily either first-time home buyers, renter future buyers, or first-time home buyers, and then the move-up buyer. Um, and I guess her sphere would be anyone from like say 22 to about 35, 36. So more, millennial. Where with me, I'm usually working with downsizers, probate, people who've lost their loved ones, empty nesters, so there is a little bit of a difference there. Also, because I started in the wholesale space, I know a lot of investors. So I do have a pretty heavy investor base also. And Miranda's just learning now about, how to service our investors a little bit better. And I've been coaching her on that. So there is a little bit of a difference, but we both handle buyers and sellers. I will tell you, Miranda does a much better job with the buyers than I do. She even reminds me of that. But yeah, so we're full service here.
That's good. Off the top of your head, would you be open to sharing about how many units you and your sister do combined each year?
So this year, right now, we're rounding out at about 28 units so far year to date. And I think I just was looking at the numbers last night. We're like at 8.2 million, I think. And considering this is our best year, because when I first got licensed, I chased a lot of shiny objects. So once I really became incredibly focused, it has definitely launched my business to a place where we're way more comfortable than we have been since 2019.
That's good. So, with those 24 units this year, and then thinking about previous years, off the top of your head, where do you get the majority of your business from? Is it past clients, referrals, internet leads? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we're really heavy on, working with people who know, like, and trust us, and we know, like, and trust. So really heavy on the referral side, past clients, some of the networks that we belong to. I will tell you that my plumber, electrician, hardwood floor person, they are the best lead sources for us. It's just growing that network. Really authentically also like having real relationships with the people in our network in our sphere.
That's great. How do you maintain the relationships with those contractors to get referrals from your plumber, your electrician?
I really it's sometimes it's just as simple as having like, hey, let's grab coffee, just stopping by their job site, especially if they're servicing one of our clients. Just kind of really investing in the relationship. Simple phone calls, like right now, like my HVAC guy's having surgery today, dropping him a handwritten card, just staying top of mind as much as possible, and keeping them up to date also when they do send us a referral, and
Hmm.
acknowledging the appreciation for that. Outside of that, we just started doing some pay per click. And that is very new for us, and that is going very well too.
What, or are you doing those pay per clicks yourself, or have you hired a company to do pay per click for you?
Yeah, so I was a nurse and I'm in real estate. I have no desire to learn pay per click or how any of that works, so we do hire a company.
Okay. Would you be open to sharing what your current technology is? What CRM do you use? What website do you use? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I floated around with different CRMs over the years. I mean, at the first start, I hired somebody to build out a Podio for me, which was a disaster. And I spent a lot of money and it never even got off the ground. It was an awful experience and very expensive. Then from there, we went to Close. Um, I didn't like that at all. It was just, I don't know, I feel like it possessed my cell phone, was not good. And also before Close, we did a little bit of Follow Up Boss, but that was when I was on that short stint with the team, and they weren't really looking to invest in building it. So then from there, I came back to Follow Up Boss, and we've been using that con consistently now for, I guess maybe for about 18 months. In terms of the website, we are with Sierra Interactive. You know, it was a toss up between Sierra and Real Geeks. We really liked the way Sierra looked, so we went with Sierra. And then we were introduced to a company called Asterisk to go ahead and handle our pay per click. With that, we also onboarded with Texting Betty. And we also use Texting Betty. And I think that's everything outside of, what we do to touch our sphere, through some like postcards and direct mail.
What has your experience been like with Sierra Interactive so far as a website provider?
I really have no complaints. They set it up for us. I don't touch it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the technology, to be honest, is very outside of my wheelhouse. I come from dial up. So, and I just wasn't part of in my generation, either you caught on very quickly to all of that stuff or you didn't. And I was, I guess, part of the generation that kind of got left behind. So I don't mess with it. It works. I get leads from it. So I guess if it's not broken, don't touch it.
Right, there you go. If it's not broke, don't fix it. What about your experience with, is it Asterisk or Asterisk?
Asterisk.
Asterisk. What is your
Yeah,
experience been so far with them?
they have been absolutely amazing. I love working with them. I get monthly reports on how well we're performing, my cost per lead, the areas. We did tweak it about, I want to say probably about 90 days ago. We actually reduced the target market areas and condensed it. And the I'm sorry, the leads have increased and the cost per lead has gone down. And so far I have no complaints. And the oh, Ashley is our contact there. She's been wonderful to work with.
That's wonderful. And then you mentioned Texting Betty. What has your experience been with that team?
I mean, Texting Betty is pretty much hands off because everything that comes through Texting Betty has been set up by you. So the engagement is there. It's very easy to use on either our cell phone or directly in Follow Up Boss. It does get a little, sometimes I think I even get a little confused on like where I should be texting out of. But that has gotten easier as time has gone on because we've been using Texting Betty now, I think, for about 6 months.
Okay. So you mentioned with like the 90 days, you were with that team, they used FUB, they just didn't have any interest in building out. You decided to go back to it when you went solo and then start your own group. How did you decide Follow Up Boss was going to be the CRM you wanted to invest your time and energy in?
It really comes, I mean, I'm pretty active in some Facebook groups. So, one, I'm with Ninja Selling. So that's primarily the model that Miranda and I base our business and our business model around. So a lot of people in Ninja Selling, they use it. Also, Tom Ferry I was a coaching client of Tom Ferry, and a ton of agents around the country use Follow Up Boss. Additionally, some of the local agents in this area also use Follow Up Boss. So I had some people to kind of mastermind and brainstorm around, and it just seemed to make the most sense for us. They do say it's, that cliche. I mean, the best CRM is the one that you're going to use every day. And I enjoy using Follow Up Boss, and also the user interface is extremely easy. And having it on my cell phone makes it super easy to use it, and really to kind of convert people to start using my FUP number.
Yeah, I agree. I love the user interface. So you decide to use Follow Up Boss. Do you remember how did you and I originally get connected?
You, this had to be, oh gosh, maybe about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You did a build out for Diane Needleman in I think she's in the Boston area, Massachusetts area. So she introduced me to you, and at that time I was not ready to make the investment to have you build it out. I let it, put it on the back burner. And then when Miranda and I got super serious, and it's like, is this a hobby or a business? We need to get someone in here to build this out, because we're not going to use either Follow Up Boss or anybody unless somebody builds it. And I don't have the bandwidth to do that. So that's when we went back to you.
And then following the build, what does Follow Up Boss look like for you now?
I mean, we live in it every day. It's super easy. I know exactly what I should be doing and who I should be calling every single day, which eliminates sticky notes everywhere on my desk or a simple Excel spreadsheet. Miranda and I, we live in it. We can message each other. I can see what's going on with her transaction or her communication. She can see mine. I'm leaving for a 6 day vacation, and there will be no drop in communication with our clients. So, and she just got back from being away for about 2 weeks, and same thing. I could see everything. So it's full transparency, which is so nice.
That's great. So can you remind me how long have we been working together? How long have you had this build in Follow Up Boss?
I'm going to say it was probably January of 2023, like first quarter of 2023. We did it in small baby steps. So first, let's get Follow Up Boss. Let's just kind of get in there, watch some of the videos. We did that for maybe about, 6 weeks. Let's dump all of our people in there and don't touch it. Brought you in, had you set everything up, and it took us about 4 months to, because I think for us, you dump all these people in there, we bring you on, you do the build out for us, and then we're like, now what? And we got overwhelmed that we had 3,200 people in there, and then how do we segment them? What do we do with them? So with Keller Williams, they had this DTD2 system. So in 13 weeks, we were able to clean up the follow-up of our contacts by using that system. Like 2 letters every week. Let's get in there, make sure we have their important information. Do we even want them in the CRM? And once we had it cleaned, and it's never going to be 100%. That's just unrealistic. But once we had it to like 70%, then we added on the the website, the pay-per-click, and the texting Betty. So it took us about 9 months to get it where we want it. And now it's just every day we're in there just doing what we need to do.
That's great. So yeah, you mentioned transparency, knowing exactly what you need to do. You live in there, you use it on your phone a lot. You probably have the app. What about sort of the action plans and automations? Have you been using those in Follow Up Boss?
Yes, we have. And that is really, it's amazing how much that catches people that maybe through the automations, just in this past 2 weeks, Miranda has been getting responses from people based off of your automations that are sitting in the, the sphere bucket. It's like, oh, Miranda, I didn't know that. Thank you so much. And we giggle. She's like, well, hey, at least it's working, But that is helping us because we do get busy or we are traveling and maybe I don't get into my buckets every day, but I know that they're receiving something if we have them on the correct action plan and tagged the right way and in the right stage. If we take the time to click just a couple of buttons, they're not going to fall through the cracks.
Yeah, definitely. Stage and tagging are the most important for making sure they're in the right bucket for you for calling in the right action plan and follow up boss. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to change subjects a little bit here, so you may need to think about the answer to this question. I'll give you some time. As we wrap up the conversation, I'd love to hear about one either lesser known tip or lesser known strategy that you've implemented in your business that's had an impact in some way. It doesn't have to be follow us related or technology related, just had an impact in some way on either your client retention, your business growth, or just your overall business. What is one tip you can think of?
Um, well, it's actually also using Follow Up Boss, but when you have the custom fields on the left hand side, it is so easy to go ahead and build out your like we do direct mail, we do postcards, and I'm not talking like postcards like just listed, just sold, because honestly, that doesn't bring a whole lot of value. And we don't farm. So our postcards go to friends, family, our community, past clients. And this is actually coming more from a ninja, um, their program, sending out two postcards a month, one science and one art, they call it. So for instance, we put a new client or we put a new contact in Follow Up Boss. We drop down to the custom fields. Are they receiving a monthly postcard? Yes. Are they receiving a real estate review? Yes. Do they need a home value? Yes. And if you have them staged correctly, you can build a postcard list in less than 1 minute. So every month we're able to pull that an updated list, send it off to the printer, and now they get two postcards a month. So how has this helped our business? I went to school with a woman, nursing school. We graduated in 2008, and I have not spoken to her since we graduated. And I didn't even have her phone number, but I did have her mailing address. So I put her in there, started sending her postcards on a regular basis. She reached out to me in February and told me she had a property she had to sell in Philadelphia. Of course, we spent like an hour and a half on the phone catching up. Sold that property. Then she referred me to her son. I'm helping him buy a duplex. And then she's selling her primary residence in South Jersey, and we're going to closing in October. So just from having your act together with your people and staying in contact or in flow with them, whether it's through email, text message, or still snail mail, direct mail, the business is there. And I can't, before Follow Up Boss and before having the correct stages to put together a simple postcard list was daunting and took hours. And now to see where, we were and where we are today, it's like a well-oiled machine. So I can't just stay in flow, just stay in flow with people, bring value of some sort. And they pick up the phone and they call.
Thank you for sharing that tip. I'm sure people will find that super helpful. Just it's simple, but really impactful for sure. So thank you, Jennifer, for your time. And thank you for everything you shared. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for everything. I absolutely love you and your team, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you, Jennifer.